This weekend, I had the pleasure of attending EduCon 2.9 in Philadelphia. EduCon is a conference a little bit unlike most conferences in that the sessions are not necessarily presentations. They're called conversations, and the idea is that the participants are going to engage in a dialogue around a set topic based on the session title. So I had three major takeaways from the conference that have sort of been, spinning around in my head since I left. The first is that grades are the worst. It didn't matter what conversation I went to, what the name of the session was supposed to be. At some point during every session, each of the six sessions that I attended, the idea of grades came up. And the underlying theme was that grades get in the way of us doing quality work with our students. So instead of capitalizing on the feedback that we can be giving students, we are sort of whittling down all of their work into a grade. So I felt really fortunate to talk about some of the work that our district has already done to move away from traditional grading practices. And I currently am part of a committee that is working to improve grading practices in our district, so I feel really positive about that. I feel like I took away some good examples of what grading, quality grading can look like and how we can focus on feedback and give less attention to the end grade. Hopefully we're moving in a more standards-based grading direction, but there's also some ways to kind of cheat the system by carefully designing rubrics and feedback systems in our classroom that I'm excited to share with my district. The other idea was around content creation. So we've been talking, I feel like on lots of Twitter chats over the last 2 years, I've keep seeing more and more information about students needing to be content creators and not just content consumers. And I think that one of the things that, I remember I struggled with when I was in the classroom, and one of the things I hear teachers ask a lot is, how do I find the authentic audience? So, we want kids to create their own content. We want kids to feel like they have an authentic audience, but where does that authentic audience come from? And I think that, sometimes it's not always a set authentic audience. Just allowing kids to post stuff publicly allows them to build their own audience around the interests that they're displaying in their public post. And then in other times, we can find that authentic audience by really just reaching out to local organizations and asking them what problem they are currently facing in their organization that we can help them solve. And, I think that from there, we're creating that audience and we're connecting our kids with something real that they'll be able to get behind. And then the other common thread that I saw through a lot of the sessions was this idea of inclusion. And the one session I attended, the one presenter, she said, we need to create a culture that implies trolls are not allowed. So we see that a lot on Twitter. People are kind of like trolling this, whether they're trolling a celebrity or sometimes they're trolling us because they don't like the ideas that we're putting out there. And, this presenter in particular, she was talking about a community, an online community that they had created. But I kind of think that mindset that, we need to make it clear that those negative forces are not allowed in our organization, I think it applies to our physical space as well. So I kind of was toying with or grappling with how we can make that happen. How do we design or create an organization or foster within our organization that the negative forces, they're not welcome? And I really feel and believe that can't necessarily come from a program. So I feel like it needs to be more of a grassroots movement. So I'm thinking about ways that we can inspire our students to create that culture at their level. Because if it's sort of a top-down, like, hey, I have this really great idea that I'm going to share with you, and it's coming from an administrator, I'm not sure that the kids are going to buy in the same way that they would buy in if it came from their peers. So that's something that I've been thinking about and something that I'm going to definitely take back to my district and talk about a little bit more.